Okay, graphing a system of two linear inequalities. These are more advanced problems. First of all, basic inequality graphing. If it's not underlined, if the inequality is not underlined, I'm going to use a dotted line. If it is underlined, I'm going to use a solid line. If it's a less than, I'm going to shade below the line. Greater than, I'm going to shade above the line. So I'm going to graph the solution or the system of the inequalities, and then I'm going to give the coordinates of one point in the solution set. So I'm going to write each one of these side by side so that I can work with them. 5x plus 3y is less than or equal to 9. And negative 3x plus 2y is greater than negative 2. Okay, this is standard form. The first thing before I start working with the numbers themselves is I'm going to I don't want to put that there. This is underlined. So if it is underlined, I am going to use a solid line to graph it. Less than means I'm going to color below that line. Now for standard form, I take the constant and I pop it up top of each one of these. Okay, so then I'm going to simplify. So 5 goes into 9 one time with 4 left over. So that point is 1 4/5, and because it's stuck to x, that is on x. 1 4/5 is close to 2. For the next one, 9 divided by 3 is 3, and because that's stuck to y, that is on y. So that's the points that I graph. So 1 4/5 on x, that's going to be at about right here. And 3 on y. 1, 2, 3 on y. And I said I'm going to graph those with a solid line. A solid line. Just connect those 2 points. And I said that I'm going to color below that line or underneath that line. Okay. The next one, I'm going to, okay, this is not underlined, so it's with a dotted line. And greater than means I'm going to color above that. So I'm going to take the negative 2 and pop it up top. Okay, negative 2 divided by negative 3, that doesn't divide evenly, so I'm going to leave it as 2/3, but the negatives do cancel out, so it's going to be a positive 2/3. So 2/3, and because that is next to x, that's on the x-axis. And the next one, negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1, and because that is stuck to y, that's on the y-axis. So 2/3 on the x is about right here. And negative 1 on the y. I'm going to connect those with a dotted line. And I'm going to color above that line or on top of that line. So this region where you see the colors are going to overlap goes off to the left into infinity. That's the solution region, and you want to give a coordinate of 1 point in the solution set. So any of these points in here, I'm just going to pick a random point. Okay, so that on the x-axis, that's it, 1, 2, negative 3. And going to the y-axis, that's at a positive 1. So that's 1 point on the solution set. The next one, I will write these down here so I can work with them. Y is greater than negative 2x minus 5, and 5x minus 1y is less than negative 4. Okay, so this is not underlined, so it's dotted. And it's greater than, so I'm going to color above that line. Okay, if this is in slope-intercept form, I make my first number be a fraction. I'm going to use the point 0 and then the number that doesn't have a letter attached. That's my y-intercept. And the other point, I'm going to use my denominator because it scratches out the x. So then you do what's left. -2 minus 5 is -7. Okay, so 0, -5. Let's see if we can go 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it just barely fits. 0, -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is right here. And then 1, -7 is right here. And I said I'm going to connect those with a dotted line. And I said I'm going to color above that line. Okay, the next equation, it is also not underlined, so that's a dotted line. And it's less than, so I'm going to color below the line. Oops, no, it's not. I'm so sorry. When it's in standard form, I need to go back and make sure I didn't do that accidentally on the last one. No. You always want to make sure that your y value, if it has a negative number in front of it for standard form, then you have to flip the inequality. So it's not going to be a less than problem, it's going to be a greater than problem. So let me correct that because I'm not going to shade below, I'm going to shade above it. So when you do standard form, how I'm showing you, you've just got to be careful with that. And I need to figure out how to get rid of that little circle. Okay, so I'm going to take the -4, the constant, and I'm going to put it on top of each one. Okay, -4/5, and that's stuck to x, so that's on the x-axis. And then for the y, -4 divided by -1 is a +4, and that's stuck to y, so that's on the y-axis. Okay, so -4/5 on x, that's almost to -1, so I'm going to put it about right here. And then on the y, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y. So I'm going to do a dotted line. Had an extra little point there that came from somewhere. I'm not real sure where that came from. Okay. And then I'm going to color above or on top of that line. Okay, and then it wants, so this is a solution region. And then we just want to pick any point there. Let's just pick this one here. It can be any point in the region. So I'm going to go down to the x-axis, and then that's at 1, 2, 3. That's at -3. And the y-axis is at 2. So -3, 2 is 1 point in the solution set.